Welcome to the Unfaithful Bonds, where silence hides more than words ever could. This isn't betrayal in its ordinary sense. It's about a tension that grows in silence, about boundaries that blur without being spoken. This is the story of one summer that changed everything. A story never voiced, not to friends, not even to a husband, because some truths don't belong in daylight. My family had gone to visit relatives in Dasapichi for several days, but I chose not to join. I told them I was exhausted by the constant traffic, the endless notifications, the artificial hum of city life. That was true. But it wasn't the whole truth. I needed stillness. I needed distance. So, I stayed behind. That evening was suffocatingly quiet, the sort of quiet that presses down on your skin. I sat on the balcony in a thin-strapped sundress, barefoot, a glass of cold homemade compote in one hand and a book in the other. But I couldn't focus. The words slid off the page like water. Everything grated against me. The dry scent of dust from nearby fields, the faint hum of a television from next door, even the pulse thudding in my wrist. I longed to rinse it all away. Without a sound, I moved to the bathroom. The door groaned softly as I opened it. I stepped under the shower, turned the knobs to full hot, and let the scalding water pour over me, eyes pressed shut. I pictured each drop washing away the irritation, the heaviness, the strange heat under my skin. Steam rose thick around me, muffling everything beyond. For a fleeting moment, I felt cleansed, weightless, but as with most perfect things, it faded quickly. I reached for the towel, only to realize I'd left it behind. Shit, I muttered, staring at the empty hook on the back of the door. How could something so small make me feel so powerless? I cracked the door toward the hallway. Silence, no footsteps, no voices. Only the ticking of the clock in the living room. With one arm across my chest and the other across my hips, I stepped out, bare feet soft against the wooden floor. Just a few steps to the linen closet, and then I collided with him. My neighbor. He froze. So did I, a mug in his hand. His eyes widened instantly at the sight of me. I was almost bare, still wet, drops trailing down my collarbone. Clinging to my thighs, steam drifted from the bathroom like a haze around me. In that suspended moment, we only stared. Sorry, he faltered, looking away but not stepping aside. I thought you were still in the shower. I forgot the towel, I whispered, my voice small and uneasy. He reached into the closet and handed me one, still not meeting my eyes. His fingers trembled faintly as I took it. Yet, I felt it, the look he wasn't giving me, the tension he wasn't releasing. Thanks, I murmured, retreating into the bathroom and closing the door. I leaned against it, my heart pounding so hard it seemed to echo. My skin burned, not from the water's heat, but from that glance, the one that wasn't neighborly, and the most terrifying part, the one that unsettled me most. My reaction hadn't been neighborly either. The morning after was stifling. The sky was the color of damp ash, and the air carried that heavy, humming stillness that always comes before a storm. I woke tangled in sheets that clung to my skin like another layer. My body felt over-aware, too sensitive. Even the sound of fabric dragging against itself sent a shiver down my arms. I remembered my dream. I felt it deep in my bones. Before the memory had fully settled, I was barefoot in the garden behind our summer place. The air smelled of apples and something sweet, maybe honeysuckle. I stood in a loose white dress, the kind that sways when you breathe, and he was there, my neighbor, picking apples, smiling. Then closer, too close. He whispered something I couldn't catch, tracing a slow line down my cheek with the back of his finger. That was when I jolted awake, trembling, slick with sweat and something unnamed. The smell of pear jam pulled me back into the real morning. I washed my face, pulled on pajama shorts and a fitted tank top. The fabric clung damp near my ribs. I hadn't dried it well. Maybe I hadn't wanted to. In the kitchen, he was slicing pears, movements steady and precise. He wore an apron, green polka dots, a faded heart stitched near the collar. It should have looked silly. It didn't. His arms were bare, the muscles shifting in his forearms with each slice. He didn't notice me at once. But when he did, his gaze flickered instinctively from my face down, then back. It was quick, but not quick enough. "Want coffee?" he asked, already reaching for another cup. "Ta," I said, brushing close, shoulders brushing. My head's killing me. He hesitated just long enough before pouring water into the pot. We drank together on the veranda in silence. My legs stretched along the railing, toes flexing absently. I felt his eyes. He said nothing. But the silence grew swollen between us. Not a storm, not yet. But the clouds were forming. Afternoon in the backyard came later. After lunch, I carried a blanket and a book outside. I told myself I'd read. But the words slipped again. Never staying. I lay on my stomach, propped on elbows, the back of my tank folded down, leaving the curve of my spine bare. Sunlight filtered through the clouds in fleeting bands. Nearby, the spray of water hissed. He was washing the car. I could hear the rhythm splash, pause, spray. Sometimes, his mutters broke through. Little sounds he made when he worked. I stayed, listening, waiting, before finally standing. Don't know why, or maybe I do. Barefoot. I walked toward him. His back was turned, shirtless, water gleaming across his shoulders, tracing down his spine. I snatched the hose by his foot and sprayed his legs. He spun, startled, then laughed, a laugh that spilled into mine until the air felt reckless. "All right," he said, grin wide. "You want to play?" He lifted the nozzle toward me. "No, wait." Too late. The stream hit me across the chest. I gasped, my thin tank soaked instantly, clinging to every contour beneath. My arms folded over myself. But too late. The fabric betrayed everything. His expression shifted, not sharply, but enough. He froze, water pooling at his feet, then cut the hose off. "I'm sorry," he murmured low. "It's okay," I answered. Too fast. Too soft. He handed me a towel, his eyes slipping away. But when our fingers touched, the pause lasted too long. His warmth, damp like mine, lingered. "You should change." "You'll catch cold," I nodded, turning, wrapped in the towel. But as I stepped away, I knew his eyes followed. I felt it, and I didn't stop him. The shed. I didn't change right away. I sat damp on the bed, half naked beneath the towel. My skin felt lit from within, every nerve awake. I thought about that look, silent, heavy, carrying more than words. The rain started just after by morning. The storm outside had passed. But inside me, nothing had settled. If anything, the restlessness grew. He left early, muttering about fixing an old shelf in the tool shed. I followed with an excuse, carrying a blanket like it was a shield. He crouched over planks, sleeves rolled high, sawdust sharp in the air. I brushed past him, bare leg grazing his shoulder. "Sorry," I whispered. His eyes didn't hide what they saw. I bent for a crate. Dress hem creeping higher. He caught my waist when I nearly slipped. I didn't pull away. "You know how you look right now?" he murmured, then stopped himself. "What?" I pressed. "I shouldn't," he said. "I shouldn't either." Silence swelled until it cracked. His hand lingered at my waist. Mine stayed steady. The rules between us had shifted. After that day, every glance held weight. Every movement felt deliberate. I baked cherry pie, watered the garden barefoot, wore one of his old shirts unbuttoned too low. He noticed everything. He brushed flour from my cheek once, his thumb tracing longer than needed. We both froze at the closeness, but neither stepped back. Night came storm heavy. We sat on the couch, a film flickering unnoticed. Lightning lit the room pale blue. His hand rested soft on my ankle. Unmoving, I didn't stop him. That stillness was my answer. Later, I rose, whispering, "I'm going to bed." He followed to the hallway, touched my sleeve. "If you want me to stop, say no." I didn't. I gave silence. He kissed my forehead, fragile. "Reverent, too far," I whispered. "Or too close," he breathed. "Give me the night," I said. He nodded, but sleep refused me. At 3 a.m., restless, I slipped outside to the pond. The water reflected a stranger's face, mine, but altered. Steps came soft behind me. You couldn't sleep either, he said. We stood side by side, silent. I used to come here when my wife and I fought, he admitted, before she left. I never knew. There's much you don't know, he said low. About me. About yourself, I whispered. Do you think we're broken? No, he said, cracked. Which means we're real. I leaned my head against his chest, his arm wrapping gently around me. Not a kiss. Not a confession. Just a fragile hold. Maybe wrong, maybe healing, maybe both. But in that moment, it was ours.